Hey, my name's Silven. Today I'm going to be bringing to you a guide on how to play a hybrid bunker. It basically does a whole lot of damage and is incorporating a whole lot of stuff from the current meta Firebrand bunker. It was created by a player called Arken. He's one of my friends. He's really good. I'm going to leave a link to his stream in the description, and I recommend you go check him out. So basically what this build tries to achieve is dishing out a decent amount of DPS while being able to hold a point or 1v1 people. So it does beat in a 1v1, 50-50, sometimes 60-40. The Spellbreaker hands down beats the Scourge, destroys every single thief possible, especially the double pistol Deadeye. Absolutely demolishes that. And it does lose to the mesmer, the new mesmer. It's in some ways you can win, but quite often you just straight up lose to it. It also beats the Firebrand bunker, and it can quite often get a kill in if they don't use everything perfectly or make some mistakes. So let's just quickly go over the build. I want to get this out of the way so it's done within 2 minutes. We're going to go through the build. So the two weapon sets are going to be Scepter, Focus, which always go well together, and the Axe, Shield. You can put a sword in there if you're having trouble roaming, but basically the way I show you how to use your tomes, you won't actually have an issue. Maybe like against two thieves or something. You can also switch out something for the mace. I highly recommend keeping that axe, because the axe actually does a shit ton of damage. It just may not seem until you really get used to it. I run 2 energy sigils as absolutely compulsory, but you can have annulment and agility. You can swap out for something like doom and cleansing. So those two are definitely interchangeable, but I prefer having agility on the very slow axe symbol. Then I run water and Mender Amulet, but Arken, the guy who made the build, he runs surging for the rune, just because when you get bursted down you can chuck on your ulti and then they can't, they have to stun break, which is a big downside because you're supposed to be a bunker kind of thing. Alright, so those are the weapons. Then go Radiance, Honor, and Firebrand. You go Right Hand Strength, Retribution, and Righteous Instincts. There's no option there. In Honor you go Protector's Impact, Pure of Heart, and Rid of Persistence. So just the only exception there is you can switch the Protector's Impact to Protective Reviver if you're really, trying to build more of your bunkerish side of the hybrid. But you miss out on your symbol, which is a lot of healing and a lot of damage. Then with the Firebrand, you go the 3 bottom skills, but you can get the Unrelenting Criticism for the stun on the symbol. Now let's have a look at some gameplay. Here I go up to the middle in Spirit Watch, and basically what I'm trying to do is do as much DPS as possible. He goes down pretty quickly, and you can see the numbers are quite high. I start rotating around, and of course, again, I don't profess to be any great player here, so I make a mistake and walk into a team. And you can see here that I'm using the F3 tome to get to somewhere quickly, to quickly build up swiftness, and you get the protection, obviously, and I put on the tome 5. So I dodge through some of the stuns, chuck down as much DPS as I can, realize he's pretty tanky, so I go to 2v1 the Ellie, and then we can 2v1 the Engineer after we beat him. You'll be able to see some of the numbers are quite high. You still get the support for your ally, and it just you're basically just building up a whole lot of little numbers just to do as much damage as you possibly can. So you can see here they're taking quite a bit of damage, and I still haven't used my F2 set, so it's still there just in case. And they both go down. So you can see this has a shit ton of support, but at the same time you do a lot of damage to help your allies drop people. So this next fight quickly turns into a 2v1 as the next guy comes up, and the whole idea here is to stay alive. With any normal bunker, you're just going to sit here and stay alive until your next person gets here. So you can see here quite easily that I'm able to live. Not ideally using everything perfectly, but well enough to live. So I want to sit on the tome as long as possible, and then I want to rotate it off it. I want to hold it as long as I can. Unfortunately, I lose it there. But now I can switch over to my DPS set because my friends got here. Realizing I'm getting pretty low, I switched to my F3 set, and as soon as I'm up high enough, I can just go straight back in and help out. So you're wasting so many cooldowns just because you have a little bit of damage. They use those cooldowns, and then when your allies get there, they don't have them, and the fight is so much easier as a bunker. So notice how I'm not sitting in those tome sets. I'm not staying in them for like a really long period of time, because that is what I was doing before, and that's what a lot of people seem to be doing right now. You can see these numbers are really crazy for a bunker. This is insane. And we drop them pretty easily. Here's a quick example of what to do at the start of the game. Just quickly pop your F3 tome, give your ally and yourself as much swiftness as possible. Put up your tomes. When you get to the point, you can actually cap the point and have enough swiftness at the end of the cap to go to the next point. Here's another example of how this bunker excels versus the other bunker in more uncoordinated teams. You're going to do a lot more damage to their bunker than they are to you. So those little tiny points where, you know, you sit there on like 2k health or something before you get your next heal, they're not going to happen, because you're going to do that amount of damage. You're going to do 4 or 5k to help out your team burst the enemy bunker down, and they're going to drop instead of being able to get that heal up, being able to hold that point a little bit longer. So you can see here, just because that little extra damage, the bunker drops instead of being able to heal. And then we get a lot of DPS on his body, so he can't really get back up. So you can see these numbers, and that you're still tanking. You still got those tome sets. You're still, you know, supporting your allies, but at the same time, you're able to, you know, hold your own in a 1v1 and sometimes survive a little bit better with the weakness kind of stuff. So this last clip is just going to be about bunkering. There's not really much to explain. I used the F3 tome to speed up and get there, because he's used the staff swiftness, and he got some swiftness from an ally. And you can just see clearly straight up how much damage I'm doing here. He's blowing cooldowns, I'm blowing none. I don't have to use any cooldowns against the standard bunker, which means when one of us gets an ally and the other person gets an ally, we have a very, very, very distinct advantage. So unfortunately I don't get an ally in this, so the LE for the enemy team comes in, so it becomes a 2v1. But you're able to see that I can hold my own easy here. And the only negative is I don't have stand your ground for when he pops Sanctuary, but apart from that, there's no real disadvantage over the normal bunker build. When you get into 5v5s, then the other bunker build becomes considerably better, because you can rely on your teammates. You need to give everyone buffs. People will stand around for the buffs. People will res. People need reses. But when you're in solo queue, it just doesn't happen. There's just too much damage. There's just too much random spam that people are chucking out. So the coordination's not there. You don't get as many reses, that kind of stuff. So I really hope you guys try this build and you enjoy it. You can see here that its numbers are still racking up. You'd be able to 1v1 stuff, 1v1 the Spellbreaker. I might do another video where I show myself 1v1ing the Spellbreaker and the Thief and that kind of stuff. You don't always win, but you definitely have a much higher chance than the bunker before, where you couldn't beat them at all, or couldn't really damage them at all, and wouldn't even use their cooldowns. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.